Our goal must be to scatter our operations, to live and work among the people we protect, just as Altair ibn al-Ahad once counseled. Ah Tabai, 1722. Hello and welcome to Visions of the Past. My name is Andrew, and I am the host of this Assassin's Creed lore podcast. This is episode 37, and today we're going to talk about the mentor of the West Indies Brotherhood of Assassins during the golden age of piracy, Ah Tabai. Ah Tabai's name is one that has deep connections to Mayan mythology. According to the book of Chilam Balam, Ah Tabai was the god of the hunt and protector of animals. The character itself can be found within Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, where he was voiced by Milton Lopes, and its novel Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Ah Tabai also had database entries in Assassin's Creed Initiates and Assassin's Creed Identity, was mentioned in the war letters of Assassin's Creed Rogue, and was part of Assassin's Creed Memories. Born sometime in the 1660s, Ah Tabai's birth name is unknown, but what is known about his youth is that he was born to a family of assassins, where his father, Balum, was the mentor of the West Indies Brotherhood. Spending his youth with the assassins, Ah Tabai met briefly with the sage Thomas Cavanagh Jr. when Balum brought the sage to Tulum. The only other thing known about Ah Tabai before 1713 is that he fathered a son, but the son died before his 10th birthday. By 1713, Ah Tabai had risen to the rank of mentor within the West Indies Brotherhood and maintained semi-regular contact with assassins across the globe, and had opened his brotherhood to men and women from around the world. In early 1715, Ah Tabai met the British assassin Duncan Walpole, who would request to train under Ah Tabai, despite already being a master assassin. During this training, Ah Tabai came to regard Walpole as one of his most trusted colleagues. In June of 1715, word reached Ah Tabai that another sage, this time a man by the name of Bartholomew Roberts, had been captured by the Templars in the region and was being transported to Havana. Seeing the opportunity to deliver a crippling blow to the Templars, Ah Tabai tasked Walpole with gathering assassin forces throughout the region and launched an attack on the ship that was transporting Roberts. After Walpole left Tulum, Ah Tabai learned of his defection, but wouldn't know the full extent until after the assassins failed to recover the sage from the Templars. After his failure, it was discovered that Walpole had intended to present a blood vial and maps that had marked the location of the assassins' base of operations to the Templars, but instead they'd be delivered by Edward Kenway after the death of Walpole. In 1716, Mary Read brought Edward to Tulum, which ended up in a confrontation between Ah Tabai and Edward. Upset about Edward's part in the deaths of so many assassins, Ah Tabai did not show sorrow in the death of Duncan Walpole. After Mary informed him that Edward had the sense, Ah Tabai would stay his hand and send Mary and Edward on a journey to a temple to see if Roberts resembled the statue of an old sage that was within. When they returned and confirmed as much to Ah Tabai informed the pair about British soldiers who had seized the village and Edward's crew. Edward and Mary freed the area, and after, Ah Tabai would remark on Edward's skill, but also stated that he was arrogant and had not earned the right to wear assassin robes. Ah Tabai then absolved Edward of his previous actions against the assassins, but also told him that he was not welcome in Tulum. In 1720, Ah Tabai met with Adewale, Edward Kenway's quartermaster. This meeting was after Adewale was forced to abandon Edward, leaving him stranded in Long Bay. Adewale, disillusioned with the pirate Republic of Nassau, would speak with Ah Tabai at length about the assassin order. Pleased with what he heard, Adewale agreed to join the Brotherhood and to study under Ah Tabai. Several months after Adewale joined the assassins, news reached Ah Tabai that Edward was imprisoned in Port Royal with Mary Read and Anne Bonny. Adewale convinced Ah Tabai to help devise a plan to rescue the three, and in April 1721, Ah Tabai went to the prison and saved the three. After freeing Edward from a giblet, Ah Tabai would offer him safe passage, so long as he helped rescue Mary and Anne. Edward agreed, but in the end, they were only able to save Anne. Mary died on the way out of prison from a sickness that resulted from the prison's unsanitary conditions during her childbirth. When Edward carried Mary's body to Ah Tabai's boat, Ah Tabai showed his sadness at Mary's passing, and then gave Edward Duncan Walpole's robes, saying that while Edward did not earn them, they did suit him. Edward eventually made his way to Tulum in May of 1721 and asked Ah Tabai to help him redeem himself, and with Mary's dying wish, to make amends and join the assassins. Ah Tabai had a brief conversation with Edward about the principles of the order, and while admitting that Edward's perspective was undeveloped, he realized it was still significantly improved from the one Edward had the last time Edward was in Tulum. They were interrupted by a Spanish attack on Tulum, and Ah Tabai gave Edward rope darts for him to use to stop the soldiers. After the battle, Ah Tabai gave Edward 3 targets to allow for the observatory to be resealed: Woodes Rogers, Bartholomew Roberts, and the Templar Grand Master, Loreno Torres. On September 1st, 1722, after Edward killed Torres in the observatory, Ah Tabai arrived and congratulated him, and then placed the crystal skull back into its resting place. After declaring that the observatory should remain sealed until the next sage was found, Edward revealed that when he was there with Bartholomew Roberts, there were multiple blood vials in the observatory that were now missing, and that he would help the assassins recover them after returning home to see his wife Caroline. To this news, Ah Tabai handed Edward a letter that revealed the death of Caroline and the existence of his daughter, Jennifer Scott. Before Edward left his home on Great Anagua in October of 1722, he would grant its use to Ah Tabai as a base of operations for the assassins. Ah Tabai responded with gratitude, telling him that they must live and work with the people, but that the location would work for them. In the mid-1730s, Ah Tabai recruited and trained Achilles Davenport. Achilles was sent to the 13 British colonies in North America in the mid-1740s to establish a local brotherhood of assassins, with the help of the French assassin John de la Tour. The two kept up correspondence until sometime around 1745, when Ah Tabai's health was failing, leading to his eventual passing. Ah Tabai was a stoic character, a man that put actions above words. Much like Altair before him, Ah Tabai was born an assassin and spent his life as one, eventually becoming mentor. He was a character that I liked, but at the same time, we didn't get enough of him within Black Flag to really get to know him. We know through other characters that he was a good mentor and teacher, and that he took multiple well-known assassins under his wing, including Mary Read, Adewale, Achilles Davenport, Edward Kenway, and even the turncoat Duncan Walpole. He could be conned, as Duncan showed, but he also didn't care for foolish actions, like when Edward was a pirate. I'd like to see more stories with him in it. I think there are plenty of comic stories that could come out with his early years as an assassin and his rise to mentor. Though I do admit, we've been away from the timeline that Ah Tabai lived in, and most likely, we won't see that character again. Thank you for joining me today. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for new episodes. If you love the Visions of the Past podcast, I'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and give a review on Apple Podcasts. If you have any questions about Assassin's Creed or topics that you'd like me to cover, please feel free to hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at visions_AC, and you can find those links in this episode's show notes. Until next time, my assassin friends, make sure to follow the creed, and to those Templars listening, may the Father of Understanding guide you.